Hello po, good morning po, good day po sa bawat STEM student po natin. Welcome po for our new lesson about the fossils. So we think more about for this aspect. We need more na matutunan po natin yung pinaka-latter lesson po about earth science is about fossils. No? Makikita po natin medyo marami po tayong pinagdaanan from the earth characteristic hanggang sa weathering and erosion, the deposition, the process that we have na matutunan po natin yung pinaka-importanting bagay po about earth science. No? Ito po ay second to the last lesson. Pero kung titingnan po natin, it's tansyado po na dito po ay lalabas po ito. Mabigat po ito sa lalabas po sa exam. No? Marami po itong ambag na mga tanong about the exam. So tukuyin po muna natin, no? Maaari po tayong matutunan po about sa stratified rocks, no? The age of rocks last lesson. Natutunan din po natin what is the necessarily lesson about the characteristic of the erosion, the weathering, the exogenic and then the endogenic process. So natutunan po natin po iyon. Actually, the last lesson that we have is geologic time scaling. No? Pero papio kung lalabas po dito sa lesson po natin, yung tinutukoy po natin geologic time scaling, pero hindi po natin bibigatan yung lesson po na yun. Kasi nga po, ay hanggang dito lang po yung lesson po natin, no? Yung magiging laman po ng inyo pong magiging exam. Okay? So bagay po na matutunan po natin about the fossils is yung 3 point. No? Pwede po doon na pumasok about from the sea, the animals, and pwede po yung plants. No? Yung mga pwede po nating tukuyin about dun sa magiging lesson po natin. What is a fossil? Is a preserved remains of a once living organism at least 10,000 years old. No? It's something dug up. No? Fossil gives clue about organisms that lived long ago. They help to show the evolution has occurred, and they also provide evidence about how Earth's surface has changed over time. Pwede rin pong maging aspeto dito yung tinutukoy po nating environment. No? So, tingnan environmental science. So, matutukoy po natin about the records that we have. It includes fossils that have yet to be discovered. So, may mga scientists po tayo na tinutukoy po na paleontologists po. Which is the study in the past. No? So, ito po yung mga several question po na baon po natin sa magiging topic po natin, which is the fossil. What type of organism existed in the past? What did the oceans look like over different time periods? What did the land look like over different time periods? How did organisms move about? And last, how did behaviors such as flight and evolve? So makikita po natin yung question po na to, ang sagot niya sa mga dadaan po mga slides po natin. First, how is a fossil formed? Last time po, napag-usapan po natin yung mga lesson po about the endogenic, the exogenic process. No, napag-usapan po natin what is the weathering, the erosion, the deposition, the cementation. Napag-usapan rin po natin yung tinutukoy po natin about the sudden movement, the slow movement, no? Mapapansin po natin dito kung baga yung importansya ng process pag tinutukoy po natin yung bagay po ng exo and endogenic process. But the process we have the first is the sediment, the layering, the layers, the movement, and then the erosion. Mapapansin po natin, no, yung pinaka-process po noong sa sediment is about the volcanic process, volcanic eruption, volcanic ashes. No? Doon po nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na nating layering. Because of the tectonic process, nagkakaroon tayo ng something na volcanic tectonic. Napapansin po natin yung process po doon pagdating po sa tinatawag po nating fossil. Okay po? Next po natin. We have 5 main types of fossil. The perified, mold and cast, carbon films, the trace fossil, and the preserved remains. Madali lang pong ibaunin po natin yung mga bagay po na ito. Pero tingnan po natin kung pwedeng matukoy po dito sa 5 na to, yung tinatawag po natin kanina yung mga plants, animals, and even from the sea. No? So pwedeng makita po natin from the seas, the first creatures on the earth live in the sea. No? Pwedeng some sea creatures made good fossils because they had hard shells and hard bones. No? Pwedeng doon natin ma-identify kung talaga may nabuhay sa mga nakaraang taon, mga nakaraang panahon po. No? Pwede rin po sa matukoy po natin on plants that at first there were only living things in the sea. It's sometimes na pwedeng matukoy natin na siya ba ay galing sa dagat or galing sa lupa, yung plants na yon. No? Some of these plants have left fossils, pwedeng different aspect of minerals in the rocks. No? Pwede po yon. So pwede rin po natin matukoy kung pwede rin po itong mga animals. No? So pwede po natin ma-identify kung ano-ano po ang meron sa 5 main types of fossils. Natutukoyin po. The verified fossils. The word verified means turning into stone. Verified fossils from when minerals replace all or part of an organism. So pwedeng na-identify nila dito na meron talaga na mga malalagay na malaking bagay about, siyempre alam natin, no, marami tayong types of minerals. Pwede na-identify natin doon na pwedeng magkaroon ng process at ma-identify natin siyang verified fossils. No? Molds and casts. Molds forms when hard parts of an organism are buried in sediment such as sand, silt, and clay. So na-identify po natin iyon, no, sa types of rocks po natin, the igneous, the metamorphic, and the sedimentary. No? When we hear a cast, it's formed as the result of a mold. So process po siya, no, from mold po. So water with dissolved minerals and the sediments fills the mold's empty spaces. Minerals and sediments that are left in the molds make a cast. No? A cast is the opposite of its mold. Next po natin, ito po medyo madaling ma-identify. More in on, medyo ma-identify natin dito, most likely sa mga plants or animals, the carbon films. All living things contains an element called carbon. When organism dies, it is buried in sediments. The materials that make up the organism break down. Eventually, only carbons remains. So the thin layer of the carbon left behind can show an organism dedicate parts like leaves on a plant. Okay? So pwede po natin dito, mas madaling matukoy po ang carbon films, most especially si plants. Trace fossils. It shows the activities of organism. Is an animals may some footprint when it stepped in sand or mud. Now, over time, what the footprint is buried in layers of sediments, then the sediments becomes solid ground. Trace fossils po ang tawag po. Ito po, yung tinatawag po natin mga preserves remains. Ito po yung amber. An example in amber in an organism such as insect is trapped in a tree's sticky resins and dyes. Parang dagta, no? Yung mga doon po nag-mold yung tinatawag po nating amber. Tar is an organism such as mammoth is trapped in the tar pit and dies. The tar sucks into bones and stop the bones are decaying. Into ice, an organism such as woolly mammoth dies in the very cold region and its body is frozen ice. So, na-preserve po remains yung kanila pong mga organism. So meron po tayo tinutukoy po dito. Most fossils form an organism are buried in sediment. Is a cycle part, is a natural cycle part of its characteristic of fossils. Next po natin, burial. Quick burial is important. The abiotic is a non-living and abiotic is a living. Factors destroy most bodies before they become fossils. Macroscopic, macroscopic, and microscopic scavengers, predators, and decomposers. Which organism become part of the fossils record? So ano-ano po yun? Pwede po natin ma-identify yung skin and muscle because of the soft body parts. The hood, shells, teeth, and bone because of the hard body parts. Meron po tayo na-identify po dito na a little geologic time scaling po. No? The tribolites at the trilobites, the trilobites is kind of an organism to identify an origin of the fossils in the different time scaling po. Ito po iyon. Review of Precambrian light. Meron po tayong Hadean Eon. Sa Hadean Eon po, ito po no fossils. Wala na-identify po. Archean Eon po, only trace fossil on prokaryotic organisms. No true nucleus on the or other organelles, no? Pero po mapapansin po natin dito kay Proterozoic Eon, the first eukaryotic organism, the stromatolites reach greatest abundance and still no body fossil po during this eon, which is the Proterozoic Eon. Inorganic versus organic. In inorganic, the exoskeleton has very resistance to destruction. Most especially is the calcium, and some inorganic exoskeletons connected with organic material. Unlikely to find this species in one piece. Example is the sea urchin. No? So yun po ang ating inorganic and organic po. No? Next slide po natin. The location is very hard to find, ma-identify talaga kung saan po talaga. Kasi po, hindi po natin, kasi nga po, mahabang panahon yung nangyari po to identify what some parts of the earth na merong mga fossils po. No? So nakita po natin on the illustration that some of our location is most likely into water. Kasi 70% of water ay talagang nasa kay Earth, no? Sa Earth po is 70% water. So talagang most especially po ay na kay water. Meron din naman po talaga to identify some into land, no? And last slide po natin, the fossil records is not complete. Its organism live and die in different environments. And only some remains resist destruction. Of those, only some will fossilize. Fewer than 10% of the organism alive today and will become fossil. So, natukoy po natin yung pinaka-importansya ng bagay po, no, about sa fossils po. Meron po akong may babahagi po sa inyo dito na when did they live, no? Meron po dito first fish. Unang fish daw po, it's about 570 million years po. First plant on land, 440 million. First insect and amphibians, 400 million. First reptile is about 360 million. First dinosaur, 245 million years ago. And first bird, ibon, no? First bird po, it's about 210 million years. So, yun po yung mga sample po na pwede po natin ma-identify about this lesson. No? So, a little point about the time scaling, the geologic time scaling. A little point about the exo and the endogenic process because of the volcanic process na meron po tayo dito. Napag-usapan din po natin yung mga characteristic of how the types of puzzles that we have to identify. Ano bang mas madali? May mga meron tayong 5 main types to identify what types of puzzles that we have to think. No? So, yun po yung lesson po natin for this week po. Hopefully, masagutan po natin yung self-instructional materials po natin. It's about sim number 6, no? Sim number 5, rather. So, upload po natin ito sa ating pong LMS po sa Friday, 5 p.m. para po hindi po tayo magkaroon ng minus. So, please be guided for our lesson for this day for this week about the puzzle. God bless you, STEM student, and have a great day.